Hello Internet and welcome to Rantcast episode 10, Remember the Butterflies. This isn't really a rant, but I happen to know the guy who runs the series and he's okay with still calling it the Rantcast. There's a couple of things I want to say before I start actually getting into the subject, which is okay because the actual subject won't take long to cover today. The first thing is I am going to be editing this a lot more than I usually do, but that is hopefully going to be done in a very subtle way that no one is going to notice. The second thing is that you will notice there's no screen behind me. I decided that wasn't working, so I got rid of it. And that's those 2 points out of the way. So, the subject of today's not so much rant is going to be chaos theory. Occasionally, when I'm with friends, I will occasionally mutter, "Remember the butterflies," and I think there's probably only one person I know who actually knows what that means. So I just wanted to kind of go over it and put the meaning of that out there. This is all tied into chaos theory, so anyone who doesn't know what chaos theory is, it's the theory that very, very small things can have an unintended or unseen effect on much, much larger things. And it's usually explained when talking in terms of chaos butterflies, which is a very, very oversimplified explanation that says a butterfly can flap its wings and it has an effect on the air around it. And this change in the air currents will have an effect on the air much higher up, and it will just keep magnifying that change up and up and up and up until eventually it gets to the upper stratosphere or whatever, and then that change gets carried halfway across the world, and a week later there's rain when there wouldn't have been rain. And this is essentially tying in not only to chaos theory but also into the fact that we know very, very little about how our weather system works. There is actually a movie that kind of ties into chaos theory very tightly, and it is named, aptly enough, The Butterfly Effect. It's all to do with time travel and changing things and how that affects. Great movie, I recommend you watch it as soon as you get a chance. And that's really how it applies to myself. If anyone asks me if I have any regrets or if I would change anything, I will always say, remember the butterflies, because even if I have regrets, I won't ever say that I would change anything about that situation, because I would have no idea how that change will affect the person I am today. Most things that I regret are things that I did once and I would never do again, and the reason I know I would never do them again is because I did them the first time. So obviously, going back and stopping myself doing it won't have any effect. I'll just do it at another time. And there's other things. I went through a period of depression a few years back, and that has to be the worst time in my life ever. But at the same time, when I was depressed, some great things happened. I met some people who I wouldn't have otherwise met. I spent a lot of time online. I made some very good friends online. I even fell in love, and that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the depression. So if I say I go back and I stop myself being depressed, then instantly I cut out a huge part of my life that which shaped who I am today, and that's going to have an overall negative effect on me. So really that's kind of what I mean when I say remember the butterflies. It's just allow your past to shape your future, but never change anything about your past, because your past shapes who you are now. And there may be a few people, or there may be a lot of people, who have events in their life which are so drastic that they do want to get rid of them. And I'm not going to argue against that, but I think for me personally, I don't think there's anything which could happen to me which I will which I will allow to affect me in such a way that I don't bring something positive out of it. So anything that happens to me is something which I wouldn't change ever. And that's just about all I have to say on the subject. I've got another video or two that I want to record, probably not tonight, but I will record them sometime soon. And so let me know if there's anything you would change and why, or what you think about chaos theory. Goodbye, Internet.